Hey everyone, so today I'm going to be talking about a relatively new law that was implemented in the state of California known as the Local Control Funding Formula. Alright everyone, let's get started. When then Governor Jerry Brown voted to create LCFF, also known as the Local Control Funding Formula, he stated quite aptly, equal treatment for children in unequal situations is not justice. First, I would like to begin by discussing what is LCFF and its history. Prior to the creation of LCFF, the previous model had not changed for nearly 4 decades. It was a complex 50-plus program with restricted categorical programs. In June of 2013, the legislature approved Governor Jerry Brown's Local Control Funding Formula, the most sweeping education funding reform in decades. The LCFF represents a historic shift in how California funds public schools. With a focus on local decision-making, equity, accountability, and transparency, it lays the foundation for local education agencies to improve student outcomes and close the achievement gap. As we can see on the right-hand side, the money is now distributed via 3 ways, a much easier way. This is based on base grants, supplemental grants, as well as concentration grants. Additionally, school districts are now mandated to create what are known as LCAPs. If we take a look at the statistics for the year 2020, we see that the percentage of those that are socioeconomically disadvantaged is incredibly large at 60.7%. When we look at the state demographics, the statistics show that the percentage of average learners not in the above 5 categories only come up to 5.3%. Thus, the LCFF is a necessity as a way in order to more effectively assist the student body of California. I would now like to talk about the implementation and benefits. Looking at the illustration on the left, the implementation has been simplified. Money is allocated to districts based on attendance, and further money is injected based on grade level, and is increased if there is an increased number in low-income students, English learners, and/or foster youth. The base grants are primary funds and are used for salaries, administration, teacher benefits, and operating expenses. The supplemental funds are used for further teacher professional development, as well as school climate programs. Lastly, the supplemental and concentration grants increase funds by 20% more for each high-needs student and 30% more for districts with a concentration exceeding 55% of high-needs students. Schools must explicitly illustrate how the money will increase or improve services for unduplicated pupils in proportion to the increase in funds apportioned, as stated in Section 42238.07 of the law. This brings me to the LCAP. Now I'd like to explain what is LCAP. LCAP stands for Local Control and Accountability Plan. As we can see, school districts must create a 3-year spending and academic plan for the community for spending transparency. This is made up of 3 sections. This is made up of the stakeholder input section, the goals section, which is actions and services performed to meet the needs of the community, the annual report, which lists the successes of the previous years, as well as explaining the use of the supplemental funds. This allows for greater community and parental involvement. If we look to the left, all 8 of these aspects must be met within the LCAP in order for it to succeed. This brings us to our last slide, the current perspectives. As of 2020, the California Assessment of Student Performances and Progress found that reading and math scores increased for low-income students by 16% and 23% respectively. Although this may be the case, stagnation in math and reading for English language learners occurred. Moreover, State Auditor Elaine Howell published a report on LCFF spending explicitly illustrating a high lack of accountability and oversight, leading to districts converting LCFF funds unspent in any one year into general revenues which could be spent for any needs, thus neglecting the high-needs students it was meant to help. Because of this, Assemblywoman Shirley Weber introduced Assembly Bill 1835 to close the loophole and require LCFF funds to be used solely for students they are supposed to help. A coalition of both school reform and civil rights supported Assemblywoman Weber in a unanimous approval. Sadly, Governor Gavin Newsom vetoed the bill, stating, "I deeply support the underlying goal of this bill. However, the bill contained fundamental flaws and required a simpler solution." It is believed the veto occurred because the state will reduce aid by more than $10 billion. What will happen next is quite unknown, but hopefully it's for the best of the students. Thank you everyone for listening to my talk today. I hope you enjoyed.